People and nature live under a system called interdependence. Without nature's resources, humans could not live, and without human, natures could not thrive, for humans are responsible for the nature's well-being. Among the 21st century, it is the most underrated literacy, which is barely known and barely practiced. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, classmates. Lend me your ears as today we are going to venture eco-literacy. From the word itself, when we hear the first word eco-literacy, then we will definitely think that it is all about environment. We often hear the terms eco, which is associated into environment. For example, eco-friendly. So it always talks about environment. So are you ready to listen? To gather some information about eco-literacy? Well, for that, let us start. Let us first define what is eco-literacy. Eco-literacy is the ability to understand the organization of natural system and the processes that maintain the healthy functioning of living system and sustain life on earth. So as defined, eco-literacy is the ability to understand the organization of natural system. So people should understand the different organization of natural system. So when we say natural system, example for that is ecosystem, water cycle, chemical cycle. Those are examples of natural system that happens in the nature. And by that, humans should understand those different organization, the different processes that maintain the healthy functioning of living systems and sustain life on earth. Okay. It also considers ecological systems and awareness of how society operates with a natural aspect as an educational imperative. So, it considers ecological systems. So as what I have said earlier, ecological systems, it's all about the environment. Example are those ecosystems, right? Those are examples of ecological systems and awareness. Awareness on how society operates within natural aspects as an educational imperative. People should have that awareness on how the society treat the nature. Because if we will not going to treat the nature right, then it will not treat us right as well. If if we cannot protect nature, then it cannot protect us. So it's very important to be aware on how we can take good care of our one and only planet, and that is eco-literacy. Okay, the basic principles of eco-literacy are a good starting point to explore fundamental lessons that can be learned from nature for the reform of society. So the basic principles of ecoliteracy are fundamentals, good starting point to explore more, to excavate more about the fundamental lessons that can be learned from nature. No, so we cannot just learn from technologies. We can also learn from nature. By what? If by with nature we can learn a lot of things, the different processes, the different organization that nature has, and it's very pivotal. Today, as what we have observed, there are a lot of calamities that struck the earth, and it really affects us all. It is really a global problem, and it is very important for us to learn with the nature in order for us to reform the society, to rebuild the society. Creating a new emphasis on the need for education to integrate understanding of the interdependence between natural processes and humans' ways of life. Creating a new emphasis on the need for education to integrate understanding. Yes, it is very important to integrate eco-literacy in the curriculum, because by this way, we are able to teach students, to instill into the young minds the importance of eco-literacy. Why is it important for us to take good care of our one and only Earth, because there is no planet B. And and for me, if we wanted to reach more people, to make more people aware about those environmental problems, then we can actually integrate um, um, understanding of interdependence between natural processes and way of life in education. By that way, we are able to provide substantial knowledge to the students, which they can share to their families, to their friends, and so on so forth. So it is very important to integrate the ecoliteracy in a classroom or in the curriculum. From another perspective, it is an understanding of the principles of the organization that ecosystems have evolved to sustain the web of life. So, ecoliteracy is an understanding of the principles. We need to understand the different principles comprises with nature in order for us to live with those principles. Because if we are living with and not against with the nature, then we are able, then most probably we can have a sustainable society. If we know how to live with those principles of the different organizations that ecosystems have evolved to sustain the web of life. So hindi lang pala ang mga tao ang nag-i-evolve, hindi lang pala ang technology ang nag-i-evolve. Also, the web of life also evolves to cater the needs of the people. Kasi as times goes by, dumadami ng dumadami ang population. So since we only have a since we lack of resources because of the population, the web of life also evolved for us to sustain life. Yes, so different processes in the nature evolve in order for them to sustain the web of life. Okay, next. Now let's talk about sustainability. Sustainability is a qualitative and quantitative condition that demonstrate the human capacity to survive over time. Sustainability, root word sustainable. Ibig sabihin, ito ay may kakayahan na masustain yung mga needs natin ng mga tao through over time, to survive over time. Another definition, it is a biological and ecological imperative for human society to exist within the carrying capacity of the ecosystem. Take note, people, that ecosystem itself has its own limit. That is why it is important for us human to take good care of our environment. To achieve sustainability, we must trace the roots of our cultural assumptions and work on ecological literacy. So in our environmental science, we also have talked about sustainability. And our teacher defined sustainability as the capacity of Earth's natural system and human cultural systems to survive. Earth's natural system, different system that happens in the environment, it has the capacity. What is the capacity of that specific natural system to survive over time? It is also the ability to adapt to changing environmental conditions into the very long-term future. Adapt to changing environmental conditions. So as we all know, there are a lot of changes that happens on Earth because of human activities, specifically unbearable activities or mga bad na ginagawa nating mga tao. Affect the effects of globalization, mobilization, and all. Now we are going to talk about ecologically literate person. So how can we define ecologically literate person? So let us know. Here it said that ecologically literate person can apply such understanding to the design and organization of communities and the creation of a regenerative culture. Understanding. If you understand the different natural processes, the different natural organization, the different organization that happens in an environment, it also translates understanding into actions. So earlier, I have said that ecoliteracy, we need to understand why we need to take good care of our environment. Now, in ecologically literate person, we need to translate those understanding into actions. It is not enough only to understand that, but we need to put effort, to exert effort into and to demonstrate actions. An action that demonstrate conscious efforts to minimize negative impact. So, marami sa mga ginagawa nating mga Pilipino is actually not just as Filipinos but also the other world, the whole world, really contributes to the degradation or deteriorating deteriorating of our nature. So, when we are ecologically literate in our daily basis, we do those things. We do things that can minimize the negative impact. So we just need to be responsible because at the end of the day, we will be all affected with what will be the outcomes. It translates understanding into action that demonstrates conscious efforts to minimize negative impact to our life, sustaining system, and maximize value contribution to our collective well-being now and future generations. While 2017 claimed that nurturing ecological literacy in students of a wide range of ages has become the goal of sustainability education programs worldwide. To achieve sustainability, we need to nurture ecological literacy into the students. We need to instill those knowledge into the young minds with the different ages in order for them to really understand the concept of eco-literacy. So when they understand eco-literacy, then most probably they can be an influential individual that will help save the Mother Earth, that will translate those understanding about eco-literacy into actions. Diba? That is why it is very important to integrate the eco-literacy in the curriculum. So here in the book, David Orr 1992 cited that by failing to include ecological perspective in education, students are taught that ecology is unimportant, which I can really, which I truly believe as a student. For my 13 years of being a student, this field, ecoliteracy, is not covered in the curriculum. It has not given importance because we tend to focus the curriculum that we have focuses only on the different technological skills, 21st century skills that students need to possess in order for him or her to survive the 21st century, which I don't see wrong. It is not wrong. But what my point is that the education system should include eco-literacy in the curriculum so that the students will be responsible about caring nature. Because we are bombarded about those different skills that we need to develop in order for us to be globally competitive graduates. We need to have this 21st century skills, we need to have this, we need to have that, and we tend to forget eco-literacy. So that is why it is important to instill into the children, into the students, to instill in the curriculum the eco-literacy because it really provides sustainable development. Okay. Moving on, an ecologically literate person understands the essence of interdependence and interconnectedness, and that we all part of a living system. So if you are an ecologically literate person, you understand the essence of interdependence and interconnectedness. Speaking of interdependence, it is like when both parties benefit with each other. So as what I have said earlier, on my introduction, I have said that we, people and nature, are living in one system called interdependence. We are interdependent with nature, and nature is dependent on us, but not in all forms and all ways. Because nature could actually thrive without human, but human could not thrive, survive without nature. Because we get almost everything to nature. That is why it is important to take good care of the nature, right? Because if that if nature is damaged, then how can we get those natural resources? We cannot. No matter how technologically advanced we are, we cannot get those things into nature. Okay. Next, ecologically literate person advocates and catalyst champion ecoliteracy as a new educational reform emerging from holism, system thinking, sustainability, and complexity.
Alright, so we're already done tackling the 5 ways to develop ecoliteracy in school. Now let's tackle the 7 environmental principles of nature. So first is the nature knows best. People need to understand nature and abide the rules. If we would like to ensure a continuous and steady supply of resources, one must not go against the natural processes. So it means na all living things, including the plants, the animals, na sila own process of development and growth. And and so kanang since tama sila own development of growth, pasagdaan nato sila dita mang kilabot. Like for example, kanang mamunga ang puno sa mangga. Once a year, lang dyan na sila mamunga. And so, pasagdaan na to nga mamunga ang puno ng mangga. And number 2, all life forms are important. So each organism plays a pivotal role in nature. So therefore, all living things must be considered as valuable instrument in maintaining balance in the ecosystem. So it means nga all forms of living things mapagamay man or mapadako ka importante na siya. Like parang ant, 'di ba? Although gamay lang na siya, pero dako siya og matabang sa tua. It nganang dako siya matabang sa tua. It's because matingalag ba ka sa inyuha or sa inyuhang kanang backyard or bakuran nga naalay mo kalit nga motubo kanang halaman or sa badara. Actually, ang nakapukanan na isang aunt or ang amigas, isang amigas kay nagadala ba na sila ng mga food, nagakuha na sila mga food sa tua. And so ginabutan nila sa sa ilahang balay which is sa yuta. And in that case, ang plant nagadala siya nutrients to the deep inside the soil nga nga makapatubo og mga halaman. And other example is kanang kahoy. The kwan mo siya kanang nana siya life ang kahoy, and so na siya gihatag pud sa tuwa nga I mean ang kahoy important sa siya sa tuwa because in case nga wala ang kahoy, then soil erosion, magka-flood, and mo-decrease in biodiversity. So see, in short, all life forms are really important, and so we need to be kanang i-appreciate nato ilang mahatag. Madako mo na sila or magamay nga living organism or life forms in the nature. Need na to sila hatagan og importance o ma-appreciate nato sila. The third one is the everything is connected to everything else. So all organisms interact with each other to ensure that the system is sustainable, of which any outside interference may result in an imbalance and deterioration of the system. So in this case, everything is connected to everything else, meaning like for example kita og water, 'di ba naman tay connected ta to each other since dili ta mabuhi kung walay water. And so um mawala ni siya ang water, so na to, 'di ba? One of our basic needs is water. So dili ta mabuhig wala ang water or wala ang air. Mag-result siya imbalance in the world. And other example is kung walay um kung wala ang humans in the world, then kinsay mag-manage sa world, kinsay mag-manage sa mga gipang bilin nga like hayop, mga halaman, di ba nga gi-create ni Lord, which is kita man ang gibilin ni Lord diri sa earth to preserve, protect, and palagoon pa sila. So nadyo siya connection ang tanan mawala man ang isa dira magka-result siya og kanang chaos or imbalance in our life. The fourth one is everything changes. So for positive changes, people should rethink the relationship with the environment through relevant technologies. So in this case, like wala man diri um consistent sa atong world. Everything really tends to change. Thus, like in nature, kanang, oh, like past years, dili kayo usually nga gaulan, pero nowadays, common na lang kayo magulan tungod sa climate change. And another one is kanang, past years said, dili kayo lihok, dili kayo nag-common ang earthquakes, usually lang siya may tabo. But nowadays, through our human behaviors and through our behaviors nga ginabuhat sa atong nature, nagahinay-hinay na o ka change ato ang environment. Like every murag natural na lang nga magka earthquakes diri sa tua, and kanang miski April na kay gaulan gihapon, like ingana. Number of the fifth one is everything must go somewhere. So it is important to become aware of the different types of waste, classify and segregate those that are toxic and potentially hazardous. So yes, kanang everything must go somewhere, Jud. Especially our trash, garbage in our home, in our environment, need jud nato na sila nga i-segregate properly to like kani siya nga butang for biodegradable, for this one is non-biodegradable, this one can be ma-recycle siya, and kani siya kay hazardous. So dapat na siya proper way ang kuan siya pagkalabay or pagka-segregate, to ensure na our environment will be clean, and it will not kanang dili po na siya magka-cause sa tuwa o kanang bad impacts to our life. So it's really important nga ato mga basura is naka-proper segregate and malabay siya tarong. And the sixth one is ours is a finite earth. Awareness of earth's limited resources leads to conscious effort to change one's attitude and initiative to recycle them. Yes, kanang resources in earth is really limited, and so need na to na siya kanang mangita ta og another way to aron ma-sustain na to mga needs, like for example kanang kuryente. We can use solar panels to um at least man lang kanang makatipid ta sa kuryente, and na kwansa nato ang unsay gihatag sa to nature na sustain nato na siya. Other thing is like kanang mapaprintag mapaprintag kanang ka like magpaprintag mga documents, like for example wala na nato na siya gigamit, pwede na to siya ma-reuse and gamiton na po next time ang back atong paper nga walay text, pwede na to siya gamiton. The last one is nature is beautiful and we are stewards of God's creation. So being the most intelligent and being with gifted with reason, humans are capable of controlling and taking care of the creation to their own advantage, which is yes true. Kita ang Star Wars ni Lord and kitang gipabilin diri with the with the intelligence, and so dapat gamiton nato na siya to protect our nature, to preserve for the next generation, and mag ano taog kana mag-spread po siguro tag awareness, and mag ano pa dog actions plan in our community on how to preserve our nature, how to protect our nature, how to segregate our waste para dili magkalat-kalat sa atong environment or in our community, so we can avoid those consequence or those um things like mga tragedy like flood ingana. And that's the seven environmental principles of nature.